People ask me all the time who my dream client is, and I always say Taylor Swift. But I've always said it as kind of a joke because there's like no way that would ever happen, right? Right? Wrong. Kind of. I don't know. I got to make this cake for YouTube. They were doing a promotion for the Fate of Ophelia music video, and they asked me to make the cake. And you guys, I know I've said a few times that my career has peaked. It truly has peaked at this point. This came together so last minute, and this was actually supposed to be my first day of Halloween baking, but I pushed everything back to fit this in. And they gave me full creative freedom, so I'm going to walk you guys through how I thought of this. So when they reached out to me, I knew immediately that I wanted to base the cake off of the Fate of Ophelia painting that Taylor Swift is in at the beginning of the music video. And I wanted the cake itself to feel like an extension of the painting. Okay, so I used the blues that are in the background and some greens. And in that painting, you can see that amongst the greenery and the water, there are flowers. But the flowers, the florals, the plants, they're not super defined. So I took it upon myself to decide which plants and florals would go on the cake. And I obviously used Taylor's songs as reference. So I started adding in all of the things that she has sung about. So I decided to add Ivy on the side of the cake. Obviously, I love that song. I feel like it had to be included. I piped out some roses or carnations. Who knows? Put those in the fridge to set so I could handle them with my hands later. I, of course, had to add some lavender onto the cake. I really like the addition of these. I feel like they're super delicate, but they add a really nice pop of color to the cake. Before adding the roses back on, I wanted to pipe on my borders at the base. I got the roses out of the freezer, added them to the cake, threw on some stray petals and some leaves to complete those. I added some clovers around the base of the cake, and then I went in with some daisies. I finished up those little details, and then I did want to go in with my palette knife and still add some of the distorted flowers that are in the painting around the sides. Now, moving on to the top of the cake, in what world would I do this cake and not include the painting and frame on top? Obviously, I don't have a mold that's going to perfectly replicate that frame, so I had to make it by hand using different little molds that I did have. I used a mixture of vodka and luster dust to paint the frame itself, and then I went in with some edible gold flakes on the sides of the cake just to tie in the gold on top to the sides. And then for the painting on top, I could have just printed the full edible image, but I really wanted to hand paint the background. And can I just say, I have never been more proud of anything in my entire life. I didn't even know I could do this. I was just like, you know what? I'm going to try it. If it doesn't work out, I'll use the edible image. And I think it turned out literally perfect. I love it so much. I want to do an entire cake in this style. I finished the painting, added my edible print of Taylor Swift laying down, and then put the frame on. It looked like a literal painting. I was so excited. I went back to the side of the cake and decided to add some wispy willows flowing in the wind. So I piped a bunch of those branches swinging in different directions. I really love how this looked. I feel like it's so flowy and beautiful. And then just to finish the edges of the top of the cake, I added a triple border. I used a petal tip and then a shell tip. I really like how this turned out, but I felt like it needed just a little something extra, so I made 3 more roses to put on top of the cake. I did a little bit more palette painting to match the painting itself, and this is how she turned out. I am so freaking happy with it. I could cry. I can't believe I got this opportunity. I'm so grateful. I really hope you guys like the cake. I freaking love this album. I love this cake. I hope you guys love it too. I hope you have a great day. Okay, love you. Bye.